Alright, we have the official launch trailer for Dead Space, which is the reboot. We're going to react, we're going to attempt some analysis, and we're just going to see what happens. Here we go.
Brace yourselves. It's gonna smash us into the hull.
I think it's me. It's all falling apart here.
Hey, Isaac. Coming? Where is everybody?
Looks pretty good. But we knew that.
This transformation, it's remarkable. Don't you want
Twitcher?
to be united with the people you lost? Our homecoming will be truly divine.
There's still a way out for us. But we don't have much time.
Alright. No surprises here, honestly. This is what I expected to see. They did a couple changes, though. Let's look at some changes. So they crash land. By the way, spoiler alert. I'm going to say some spoilers. This is a remake, so the game's like 12 years old or something.
It's all falling apart here.
Hey, Isaac.
Is that the same voice actor as the old Nicole? It sounds similar, but it's hard to tell. They've changed Nicole over the years, and I always felt that the original voice acting for Nicole was the best for her, and wow, does Isaac look different. So what I've heard is that they modeled Isaac after, is his name Gunnar Wright? I think it's Gunnar Wright. He does the voice for Isaac, and they modeled the character after him, after the voice actor. And what I think they're going to do is they made him way younger, made him pretty young, probably 30 or something, I'm guessing. And the events of Dead Space are going to quickly age him, because under that much stress, you'd lose it. You'd gain so much stress lines, your hair would gray so quickly, it would be pretty intense. That would be a good evolution for him, I think, as a character. So they crash in the lobby. This guy looks so much better. Wasn't there a guy with a mustache before? There was also one of the security details had a mustache, I think. And then I think one of the guys was Asian. It was a white guy and an Asian guy. Or at least a guy with a mustache anyway. And the other guy was distinctly Asian. I kind of wish they would have changed this sequence so that they were successful, and then these guys died over the course of the game, have more longevity, and then Hammond would be he's like the most experienced. He's like the veteran. He lasts the longest. There's the bridge. That's a rock. I thought it was like a planet down there. Look at this, like, you got like the bone into like the fleshy bit still there. And the new tech allows them to do that. They can like peel away the flesh like off of like limbs on the necromorphs, and they can use that same kind of tech, I would assume, on props and stuff. And it looks really good from what I've seen. This guy right here used to have black hair. They made him blonde. The guy who'd just go clunk, clunk. In the original, they had this one like corpse that they would reuse in the game a lot. It wasn't the only corpse that you would find in the game, but it was like this chewed up corpse, and it had like black hair. I remember seeing it like a lot, and they put it here and had him smash his head over and over again as like a freaky moment. This is one thing that they did not do a lot of, in my opinion, in the second Dead Space, and not at all in the third Dead Space, and very little in Callisto Protocol, which is they'd have these moments where there wasn't an actual threat, but it was just freaky. In this situation here, you come around this like bend, like there's like this U-shaped hallway, and you hear this steady smack, this echoing sound, and it's this guy right here, and he's like smashing his head against the wall, and then when you get close to him, he gets one big wind up, really hits his head super hard, and he slides down the wall and falls over, and he's like, his mind is totally gone, and he can't feel the pain or whatever. And there was like another part where like the girl like cuts her own neck. There's another part where like there's a girl like in this corner, like in like a med bay, I think, and she's like weeping next to this mangled body, and her eyes are missing, I think. And there's like another part in the game where there's a guy, he like stands in this doorway, so like the lighting is like really red, and you're like deep in the ship, and there's like this really intense like humming, like this pulsing hum sound, this very bassy sound, and it's pretty unsettling. And he stands in the doorway and he says, in like a whispery voice, but it's kind of like in your head too. It says "make us whole," and he like slides off. There's no threat there, but it's just like really creepy, and I like those kinds of moments. And splicing those moments into the game helps break up the combat and makes a more scary atmosphere. So hopefully they have those in there, and hopefully they make more, because I think Dead Space does like a really intense like psychosis thing, and I don't remember if there were psychosis elements in Callisto or not. We got our pulse rifle. We got it's not Altman, that's the religious figure. That's like the prophet of unitology. What is this guy's name? I forget his name. He's like an antagonist for Dead Space basically. He looks good. I like this character's design. I like his widow peak. This looks nice. And this is interesting too. There's another shot here I want to look at closer, which is they put in like legit zero-G. Like there wasn't like the weird you have to like stick to walls and jump to walls in certain predetermined locations like in the original Dead Space. So I suspect we're going to see more content where you can hop around and fly around and go to new areas that connect existing areas from before and that sort of thing. This is pretty intense right here. Let's see this closely here. It looks like a Twitcher that's running crazily. Let's slow it down. What is that? Do you see the glitchy like effect on it? Look at that. That's interesting. They had a cloaked enemy in Callisto, which was kind of cool. Hold on, just wait a second. Let's slow this down even further. It looks like this enemy is moving towards the camera or towards Isaac, and it's like glitchy and like stuttery and like flickering in and out of like whatever. Let's watch this really closely here. Look at that. That's not an effect that Isaac put on him, I don't think. He hits something. I think maybe he dices him up and there's like a stasis canister or something, or maybe this is an effect from the line gun. I'm not really sure. But that was cool, though. I didn't notice this before in any of the other footage they've shown for the game. Then again, they haven't shown any Twitchers yet, I don't think. That is interesting. What is that? And you can see this is more of a military uniform, I think, too. This is when the military outfit like totally wrecks and like screws everything up. Yeah, this is interesting, though. I like what I'm seeing here. See, isn't that strange? It's very interesting. He's like flickering in like a tear in reality sort of way. I also like the fact that when it came to the Twitchers in the first Dead Space, and they weren't in 2, and they were in 3, but they were toned down. In the first Dead Space, they made them move scary fast. It wasn't like this enemy now moves like 50% faster or even 100% faster. They moved like 738% faster. It was some insane number. They would just be like the other side of the room and just suddenly right in your face. You like had to use stasis, or you had to be like on point with your shots. Anyway, they were difficult, and I liked the fact that they were so fast. They were shockingly fast, and we might see that more here. It looks like that's really cool. All right, back to normal speed. Here we play with Isaac Mine a little bit. He thinks he's seeing Nicole. Is that a regenerator? That might be him. So this is a new setting too, it looks like. It comes out of like a circular test tube kind of thing originally. Hopefully they add more options with suit upgrades. What I'd like to see are types of suits that give bonuses that are asymmetrically useful, not strictly upgrading. Here's Engineer Tier 1, Engineer Tier 2. Then you definitely use Security Suit. Then you definitely use Miner Suit or whatever. What I'd like to see is like, if you go with Engineering Suits, you get like a bonus to like certain types of weapons, or you take less damage. In Security Suit, like military style weapon. Hopefully they throw the secret rifle back in there and some military issue things. And the Security Suit gives a bonus to them. If there were like utility effects, you have like a technician set of some sort, and you can like interact with systems, unlock things you couldn't unlock before to get more goodies, or like turn like lights on and not venting the air out or whatever it is. Just different choices that matter in combat is what I want to see from the suits. If not, that's okay. The weapons make up for a lot of interesting and varied play styles with the weapons. Here we have the growth. This looks similar to the part where you're walking around these like catwalk type things and you're going down. There's like these enemy slash props, and they're like a torso. It's literally like the waist is cut off up to the head. It's like mounted on the wall, and the bottom of their torso has like these like flayed guts that are like splaying around, and they're like moaning and gasping and stuff. If you get too close to them, they swing at you. You can kill them, but they're bizarre enemies like that. Pretty creepy. And you can see the really nice light effects and the atmospheric fog and that sort of stuff, which is expected, you know, but it's welcome improvement for sure. Getting snatched by the tentacle here. We know the scripted events where you walk and you get snatched. Is there another part where you get snatched and pulled off something like that? Is that new? I don't really remember. And this is different right here. Look at this. He's going outside. He hops out. He hits this like panel here. It looks sort of like, it's not, but it looks sort of like Dead Space 3. It's like in the open and you can like fly around and that sort of stuff. It's probably like a sequence where you get sucked out into space and you got to fly around a little bit. You know, press a button, pull a lever, get back inside. There's our classic Eater of Worlds, whatever this thing is. I forget what this thing even is. It's one of the major... I don't know the Dead Space lore well enough. You actually fight one of these on Dead Space 3 as well, I think. That's where Norton freaks out and gets killed. Got our classic climax here. I wonder, could you end a horror game without a giant boss? I feel like it's like you have to have a giant boss. Maybe that's because I've just seen it so much. I don't know. I wonder if you could like end a horror game like this, where you kind of like wind down the energy and you get out safely. And you're like... kind of moment. Like, probably not. The expectation is to have like this big excitement in the final moments. I gotta say though, the combat in Dead Space does not lend itself well to big enemies like this. It's this very on rails moment. It's like typical of like mainstream games like this, or mainstream games in general, I should say, where it's like it's really big and it looks really cool when it's like an attack and you walk to the left and you miss it, and it's like an attack again. Now shoot the spot. Then it flails around, then it attacks again, and you move, and it's like, okay, but it's not very interesting. But it looks cool. The combat in this kind of game shines when you have like the different types of enemies, and there's like a technical aspect to it where it's like, where do I shoot them, what weapon do I use, what kind of enemy is it, what's the variety, how many are there, how do I use my resources, and that sort of thing. It's whatever. Humanity ends here. This is a good slogan. Callisto Protocol had these series where they said we're mastering horror, and I'm like, really? Like before the game came out, I was like, did you master it? Is this the best there ever will be and ever was? Anyway, yeah. So looks very good. I will most certainly get it. I'm excited for it. How do you guys think that this will differ from the original game? How will it be the same? What are you looking forward to? I also hope they have like lots of interesting difficulty options. Let me know your opinions in the comments, and I guess we'll get spooked on January 27th. Take care.